A couple things, just continue to understand that we have to compete. I think that's really important with this stretch. No matter what happens, that we can be in some close games that can go either way, but competing will put us in position to at least be in the game. And then learning how to finish and what it's going to take to finish tough basketball games, and how we lost that South Carolina game, and so many opportunities to win it. But you got to go out and do it. So we talked a lot about that, and had a good practice. Especially probably first 75% of the practice was really good, really intense. Competed hard. We lost a little bit at the end, but it was kind of a long one. So we're pretty pleased with yesterday's effort.
How much was that needed coming back, especially after a day off? But after a game that emotionally was a little tough on everybody because everybody probably felt like there was something they could have done that would have made the effort.
I think it was important, especially from the standpoint knowing the process of that we have to continue to improve. We can be so much better. You see spurts. Now you're seeing, like in the South Carolina game, a longer effort and a better effort. And now, even with that, we can improve so much more as individuals, as a team, and continue to grow, because it is a process. And we want to be playing our best basketball as the season goes on, not take steps back, keep taking steps forward. So those are some of the things that we talked about. We watched a lot of tape, every opportunity we had to win that basketball game. And I think as you see that as a player and as a coaching staff, you understand there's a lot of room for growth. So it's it's actually a positive, and we're trying to make it that way.
I know you guys will spend a lot of time talking about execution with your guys, trying to get them to work on specifics. But with as athletic as you guys are, especially, how big? You talked about effort. Does that kind of cure a lot of ills as long as you guys play, really hard and really focus on what you're trying to do, game in, game out?
Going against bigger teams,
just against
in
anyone.
General, it does. We have. We're not the tallest team. We have some gifts ourselves with our speed, our quickness. We have to use that. Last year against Vanderbilt, I thought our effort, the 50-50 balls and a lot of the plays we needed to have, we had. Against South Carolina, they were bigger and just as athletic, and we did some really good stuff against them on the rebounding front and dealing with their pressure. I thought we handled some things, some situations very well, and we have to continue to grow. The execution part, that comes down to how you win basketball games with a lead, especially. You make sure you get a shot at the end of the clock. You make sure you screen and get into your sets, and that's where we can tighten up and get a little better. So I'm happy with yesterday that we improved a little bit.
That Vanderbilt game last year, do you feel like that was maybe the best game that team played? Maybe the whole season, and if it was, is that a valuable take in saying that coming into this stretch, you point to that effort and say this is what you need to do in order to win any of these games in this upcoming game?
I think it's a great indication of how the potential of that last year's team, of the potential when you play together on the road per se, and probably our best game. You could argue that Mississippi State at home, when we were down a couple guys, the effort there was great. Murray State, same thing. But it was a special game down there. We hadn't beaten them in a long time. We were due, but we went and made it happen. I think that's probably the message we'll try to send from the Vandy game. A couple things: effort, and two, we went out and took the game. We didn't just hang around and kind of sneak by. We actually rebounded the ball well. We scrapped. We played hard from the beginning to the end, and very happy with that. So we can show the players a lot of things from that tape.
You had those wins last year, and your first year you had Louisville, Georgia, Southern Illinois right in a row that kind of propelled you past a rocky start. I mean, how much you talked about that in preseason, but how much do you go back to that about how this upcoming stretch can really push you forward in a big way, or it can hamper you in some ways?
It's an emotional time because the way our schedule's cut up, it's just not cut up the way you want it. It's a very it's a very tough stretch. It's a very competitive stretch, and that's the thing we're trying to gauge our team based on improvement, night in, night out. You know, each practice, each game. This past week we improved. In the South Carolina game we improved. Yesterday we got better. We got to go out now, and when the lights are on, we got to carry that over into the next game. That's really what I'm focused on with the team. Now, you lose another game, or you know, you string together a stretch where you didn't pull them out, then you really have to take into account where the mental state of the team is, and that's, you know, that's coaching, and that's maturity. That's where you have to hope your seniors are understanding. They got to be involved, and they got to talk as well. So there's a lot of things that go into that, you know. But momentum-wise, you want to get one of these to help yourself with confidence and understanding, because I've said this before, until you do it on the road in a high-level environment, you know, you gotta talk the talk and you gotta walk the walk kind of thing. And I'm excited about these opportunities for our team.
How is the mental state for you guys at this point? You guys have had some highs and you've had some lows. A
Well,
lot of new guys.
I think it's great. You know, you get better through adversity. There's no question. And you can't have too much adversity, because everybody starts looking around, and you lose confidence, and you lose a little bit of edge. But the guys, their attitudes have been good. Each and every individual is having highs and lows, and that's hard as a coach because you want that consistency, but each and every individual is getting better. I really feel that. So we'll have to just continue to monitor how we can carry that over into the game. Now, we made a jump from the Davidson game to the South Carolina game. That's one jump. You know, we're not there yet. We're not there by any stretch. And I think watching tape, the players understand we do have a long way to go to reach our potential. We could be a heck of a team. So everyone in that locker room wants to do well. It's just a matter of everyone coming together and managing what we do from practice to the game, making sure that we carry it over.
Cliff was a guy you praised quite a bit in preseason. You know, and he played a big role for you guys early. It seems like, especially Saturday, obviously he didn't find himself on the floor a whole lot. I know he's a guy that, from a experience standpoint, from an ability standpoint, you guys need. What's he need to do to maybe find himself, you know, a little bit more of a role, a little bit more time?
I think he hit a tough stretch in the South Carolina game, where he had some breakdowns in a short amount of time that kind of kept him off the court. He's handled it well. He came back and had a good practice yesterday. I think I really talked to him about how he could play a very big role, you know, in this next game and build on that. And he came back, had a great attitude, great practice yesterday. He's doing good. And I think he will. I think he has the potential to really affect the game tomorrow. They got a big team.
Yeah.
He can, with his quickness and length, he can do some things defensively. But he has to continue to play fundamental basketball, you know, doing what he can do, giving us a great post-defensive presence, which includes rebounding and blocking out. You know, he's got to do that night in, night out. He's got to take care of the ball. He doesn't need to do too much on the offensive end. He needs to give us a presence inside on the offensive end. He needs to run. He needs to help on defense and change the game with his defense. So there's a lot of fundamental things I think he can bring to the table that he's working hard on making them habits for him.
You talked about their size. Just how big an obstacle is that? I mean, they're big on the perimeter. They're big on the interior, both, you know, on the front line and on the bench. Just how big a challenge is it? Obviously, you guys combated it last year as well, but I mean, how big a challenge is it this year too?
Well, they don't have Ogilvy anymore, which he was a load, and their center is huge, and he's improved. So we'll have to figure out, you know, as the game goes on, how to handle him. They've got guys coming off the bench with good size. They're pretty long at the forward and guard spot. So it's not so much the length. I think you have to understand. You got to guard the rim. And I don't think they're a post-dominant kind of team. I think they're a little more guard-oriented. So, but their system, you know, they don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't try to go out of their playbook and go one-on-one a lot. I think they screen for each other. I think they cut hard. I think they run good offense. I think you're going to see a team that wants to probably put it down low early. So we'll have to handle that, and that'll have to be several guys. Pat had the job last year covering the big, and he's low and strong. You know, you hope that can cause some problems for a big guy, but that kid is big. He's really big, so we'll have to work on some different things.
How important is Sergio in a game like this as far as rebounding goes? Last year, obviously, they're big. You know, I think Stephon got some foul trouble, and Sergio played big. You know, that might have been his best game until he got hurt there early on. Anyway, had a big game, was athletic on the boards. If he's not, you guys might not win that game. How important is he helping in that asset? And tonight or tomorrow, I guess, with their size.
I agree. I think Serge has still not gotten a rhythm for whatever reason. I think his defense is getting a little bit better, but it still needs to improve. I think you're going to see him rebound the ball better here coming up, and you know, that's kind of his roots. You know, that's what I think energizes him. I think why he stands apart. He really, for his size, can really rebound, and I want to see him going out and being the old Serge, where he's putting less pressure on his offense and taking, you know, good shots. He'll take some challenge shots, and that's kind of him, because he can do that some, but he doesn't need to have so much focus on the offensive end other than the rebounding. So we've been preaching to Serge to kind of get back to his game, and I think mentally, I think he's starting to get back in that mindset.
How unique a challenge is tomorrow night for him individually in that, you know, matchup, depending on how matchups work out, he may end up with the assignment on Taylor and vice versa, you know, at least from the start of the game. A guy who's, you know, 6'6", 7" or 6'7" out there.
Yeah, I don't think he'll end up on him a whole lot,
okay,
unless we switch out some. But Serge has proven. I mean, you've put him on point guards before,
yeah,
where he gets down in his stance, he can do it. He's 220. You know, he's 6'5". He's capable in a possession or two to guard anybody. So, but the assignment initially probably won't go to Serge, but. Defensively, he's got to be a good help defender. He's got to be a good rebounder. He's got to block out, those types of things. Fundamental stuff is what we're looking for.
We were kind of talking about a little bit earlier, but just with the different layout of that gym. I mean, have you guys practiced with that? How kind of being opposite ends of the court, and have you kind of got your foot stomping down to?
No, we haven't. We'll do some of that today. When we do perfect execution, we'll do a little bit of that today, where they have to kind of look down and see what we got. See what we're doing. Communication's important, and point guards have to know what you're doing all the time, and they have to keep looking back, and not during play, but in between plays. It's important for that communication.
Are you going to stomp your foot though? You got that down? Or on the other end or anything?
No. The Dennis Felton. You talking about the Dennis Felton stomp the foot?
Yeah.
No. I don't know how Dennis didn't break his foot half the time, but no.